Hi. Today we're going to compare the two most famous and most widely used Marshall JMP heads. It's the 100 watt super lead and the 50 watt lead. The model numbers is 1959 for the super lead and 1987 for the 50 watter. You may recognize those from 1959 HV hand wired, you know, the reissue we have today, and 1987X, which is the reissue of the 50 watter. These are from the early 70s, both these. It's 1971 and 1973. I'm going to play the 100 watter through both these cabs. It needs two cabs, otherwise I'm going to kind of pop the speakers. It's 1960 cabs with 1971 G12M 2575 Hertz Pulsonic Greenbacks in them. For a 50 watter, it's sufficient to use one. You usually have to have double the power what the amp is rated for in the cab, not to blow the speakers. So we're going to make that comparison. I'm going to play a Les Paul, and I'm going to play two riffs, one solo riff and one, cleanish riff, and I'm going to increase from 1 to 10 for both riffs, and then I'm going to play solo for both. And then afterwards, I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of these two amps. When should you use one and when should you use the other, and what are they bad at and what are they good at? Because when it comes to playing them, they're quite different actually. All right, stick around for that. Cheers.
Well, you know, the 100 watter, the Super Lead, is 3 dB louder. It's twice as loud as the 50 watter. So it's got much more headroom, which is good when you play the clean sounds. It kind of you get the oomph you need for clean tones in the Super Lead. I think the 50 watter is, at least with this setup, is a little bit too weak. I don't know if you play it through an EVM 12L. Maybe this one is good enough, and that one is way too loud. But with these G12M, vintage G12M speakers, I think for clean sounds, the Super Lead is much better. And you know, with more power, you get a detailed bass that you can't really compensate with the 50 watter using the bass knob. It's like you having a photograph of a sky that is so bright that is almost white. You know, there's no content there. There's no point in adding more whiteness there. It's just saturated. So you know, it pays off to have some power in that respect. Now, I'm recording this before I've listened to the results, but I'm expecting that the close mic for the 50 watter is more punchy than for the 100 watter, since I can use one cab with 50 watter. But let's see. Let's discuss it in the comments. Maybe the 100 watter is still more punchy. Then when it comes to playability, it's the 50 watter compresses in a way that is very nice for solos, and it's much easier to play. And especially newer 100 watters, I think, like the 1959 hand-wired and the 1959 SLP, they when you have kind of the volume halfway up, it kind of sounds harsh. And the old ones do too, comparison to the 50 watter, which is kind of smoother. So it's a beast that it's harder to tame, the 100 watter, I think. But for many applications, it's worth it. Then it's kind of midier as well than the 50 watt. 50 watter is more nasal and more scooped, which is good sometimes, and sometimes it isn't good. When it comes to playing with the drummer, the 100 watter through at least through a G12H full stack, which I usually play it through, is way too loud for a drummer. The drummer is, even though I have huge drum kit here that is extremely loud, you can barely hear the drummer. So then through at least through a G12H full stack, it's 50 watt lead is just enough for a drummer. But then you can use attenuator and so on. But I wanted to avoid using attenuators in this video. I kind of want to see the historical application of these two amps. It has been like this: 100 watt through a full stack versus a 50 watt through a half stack. At least I think so, because you know, I looked at the Kiss Alive set
They have a full stack with 2 heads on it. So I wonder if one was spare, or if they were both 50 watters. But the lights are on all amps, so I guess they used 100 watters through single cabs and probably broke speakers all the time. I've tried that a couple of times myself. I've blasted speakers every time I've done that, but it has sounded really cool. But it's not. I don't think it's usual. It's not a very common application, I think, throughout the years. So my basic conclusion is the cleaner you're going to play, the more interesting the super lead is to me, and the more gain you're going to use, the more interesting the 50 watt is. And the 50 watt is much easier to play with lots of gain as well. So that's how I use them, at least. Let me know what you think. I want to hear about your experiences of these 2 amps. And if you know about any instances of famous bands using 100 watters through single cabs in recording and live. All right. Cheers.